Coming back to center is what the season of spring is all about. It is about equilibrium. And the thing about equilibrium is it's a kind of illusory thing, right? As soon as we find the balance, we are out of balance again. But it is a reminder that we can come back to center. We know that this equilibrium is a little bit of a myth, because even though spring came to us only a couple days ago with the sun being directly over our equator, it didn't come for all of us at exactly the same time. The length of the daylight actually evened out a couple days ahead of time. That's called the equilux, when the light is the same as the length of the night. I'm sure you all noticed, didn't you? Right. And so we come back to center. We come back to center because we are moving very, very fast. There's a song called "The District Sleeps Alone Tonight" by the Postal Service, which was an experimental project about a decade ago, 2 decades ago at this point, actually. And I always love, because there's this lyric in the song, that I like to make myself believe that planet Earth turns slowly. Because it is moving very, very fast, 1,000 miles per hour in its rotation each day. Every 5 hours, we have moved the same distance that it takes me to get back to my hometown of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. And we are orbiting our closest star, our sun, at 67,000 miles per hour. We are moving very fast. And it is hard to come back to center. Spring is also about death and rebirth. It's about an evening of those things. After a long winter when things went underground, went fallow, I know it's sometimes a little bit more difficult in our lush space. But different plants were not growing in the winter here, and new ones take their place as we enter the spring and get into longer and drier days. This rebalancing of life and death, the conquest, the epic saga that is all of our lives, that is the story of the natural world, is what the legend of Ostara teaches us. It teaches us that even as forms deform, transform, they will also reform. Old gods die and new traditions take their place. And in them we can make newer ones out of the resources that we already have. The plants will outlive us all. The traditions of this season always reference the balance between life and death, old and new, evil and beauty, reminding us that we can come back to center. Come back to center now. The flower ceremony or celebration is a symbol that, even if only temporary, our capacity for evil is eclipsed by the beauty that we can make together. Look at the beauty we made together. Any group of humans anywhere in the world could make a beautiful altar like this. It is harder to organize ourselves for evil than it is to organize ourselves to make beauty. And that itself is a generosity. It's a generosity of sharing with one another. It's a generosity of making this space and place more beautiful, more whole, more compassionate. As a matter of fact, at his sham trial, the Nazis found that Norbert Čapek's belief in the inherent worth and beauty of every person made him incompatible with life. And it is this concept of beauty which informs our first principle, the inherent worth and dignity of every person, and that we restate in our proposed value of equity, as we declare that every person has the right to flourish with inherent dignity and worthiness. But we also draw great meaning from the original statement. It reminds us that the purpose of this altar, of this ritual in which we just participated, this one that's still in progress as we take flowers later on, is not to honor the Chapeks, but to understand the high stakes for declaring the value of all Black lives, of every human life. To know that in 2024, it is still risky to say that all deserve compassion, justice, and joy. The beauty that we dream about and make here on this altar, that we share with one another, it's dangerous enough to take down empire. Beauty can destroy evil. Beauty can transform something that is ugly into something like the color purple that the divine can't stand when we walk by and don't notice. Paraphrasing Alice Walker. Come back to center. Come back to center in this time, knowing that it's epic saga, knowing that the story of Ostara, knowing that this balance that we have in this ever-wobbling, ever-spinning earth that's going just as fast as we are, is still a story in progress. It's still a story where beauty wins every time. It's still a story that when we join together, what we have the capacity to create is far greater than what we have the capacity to tear down. Come back to center. Amen. Ashe, and blessed be.